Greetings and salutations. David Duford here at davidduford.com. We're helping insurance agents like you become top producing insurance professionals. Today, I am joined with the El Jefe of sales of insurance online, Mr. Jeff Root. Say hello, Jeff Root.
Hey, everybody.
Yeah, Jeff is here to help us understand and go into detail about how to sell insurance online. I've been getting a lot of questions, especially since I did that Anthony Martin interview. And Jeff is the go-to person to learn how to do this. He has put together the system. He knows exactly what to do step by step. It's definitely not easy, but it's something that has been done and he teaches. So Jeff, why don't you kind of introduce yourself and tell the audience who haven't maybe seen some of the other videos you did a little bit about yourself, what you guys specialize in.
Yeah. So as David mentioned, I focus on selling life insurance online and over the phone. So I've been doing that for about a decade now. Started the industry in about 2006, spent a year face-to-face. Then since then, it's been all telesales, all online marketing. And for the past 5 or 6 years, it's been teaching agents how to do it as well. So done that through, I had a podcast called the Modern Life Insurance Selling Podcast and wrote a book called The Digital Life Insurance Agent. And now I help agents through digital BGA and through events now as well.
Yeah, and we'll talk more about that later. And by the way, for you guys that want to sell over the phone, Jeff's crew, his team, his program is absolutely something you need to look at. If you're not necessarily going to go the organic route, but maybe you want to sell final expense or term over the phone, talk to Jeff's team. They know exactly what they're doing. Again, Jeff's been in this forever, so he is the guy to go to. So first question here, Jeff. A lot of agents enter the insurance sales business face-to-face. You yourself, as you said, did this as well. Describe how you recognize this opportunity, because you came into this well before it was as big as it is now. And how did you get into it, recognize it, and begin that transition from doing everything face-to-face to everything over the phone?
Sure. So I was at Northwestern Mutual. That's how I got into the industry, got licensed, Series 7, all that stuff. And, after my first 6 months, I pretty much went through my warm market. I wasn't buying leads. Back then, leads weren't a big thing. And actually found a lead vendor and purchased some leads just because I was running out and I was losing steam, and purchased my first batch of leads. They were all local. And first guy wrote my biggest policy. And it was over the phone. The guy did not want to meet me. He was a business owner, probably 6 miles away. And he's like, hey, man, can you just mail the application over to me and I'll just, I'll sign it and mail it back to you. And we can do, schedule the exam, do all that. I was like, sure. So I did that and then went through a few more of my leads. And these people that are filling out these leads online, these are online leads, all wanted to do it over the phone. And so that's when it clicked for me. Like, okay, there's this other side of life insurance sales that I just wasn't aware of. And I was selling them Northwestern Mutual policies over the phone, even though they were local. And then I ended up leaving Northwestern Mutual and just buying leads full time and selling other companies. So yeah, that's the moment it clicked for me.
So, I mean, when you left Northwestern, did you go straight 100% phone sales at that point? Is that what you did?
I did. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I
guess you've been doing it for a while at that point. So it was.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, there's probably a blurred line for a month or two where I was selling, while I was still at Northwestern Mutual, because I was waiting for a lot of my pipeline to pay out.
Right.
And so it was an easy transition. So when I left, I had a full pipeline, and it was simple.
So a lot of people watching this, again, most agents are face-to-face and probably have come across same circumstances that you did, where they see there is definitely an opportunity to sell over the phone. But a lot of people are worried about how the sales process, if at all, is different. So why don't you describe if it's different, selling over the phone versus face-to-face, as opposed to like conversion ratios, how many leads you're going to close, is one better than another, cost of doing business, and just kind of like describe the day-to-day process a telesales agent or an online sales agent would go through.
Yeah. So I'll start by saying it's the same exact process selling over the phone as it is selling face-to-face. When you're making that call to Aptical or MRS or wherever, you're making that same call over the phone. So don't think it's anything different than conferencing a call over to one of those organizations. So got that aside. So then as far as conversion goes, so it all depends really on your lead source and how good of an agent you are. I always say that. Everybody always asks me, hey, how do these leads close? What's the ROI on this, on your lead source and your system? And like, it depends on the agent, how many, your activity, what you're saying on the phone specifically. I mean, all that factors in. But I would say that and also the type of lead. Is it an organic search engine generated lead, or is it a Facebook lead that, which are so plentiful out there? I'll just go off Facebook leads right now, just because that's what most agents are able to work online, and anybody can get their hands on them at an affordable rate. So Facebook leads, and again, it matters what the ad copy says on them as well. So, if you're going to buy them from a lead vendor, they're most likely using, state regulated plans that could come off to a consumer or a prospect as free, so
Sure.
They might misinterpret as that. Those types of leads are converting, people are going to scoff at this, are converting at about 3%. But the thing is, you can generate those types of leads if you generate them yourself, and they're not that hard,
right.
guys. There's courses out there that teach you to do it. You do not need to pay $15 for a Facebook lead. You can learn to generate them yourself, even if you have no experience. There's some courses out there that allow you to do that. I'm not going to recommend any, but if you just do a search or ask around, I'm sure you can find them. So with that said, you can generate one of those leads for $5, $6, $7.
And it's easier to do it. It's easier to do it Facebook lead generation over a state or a regional level as opposed to a city. So I think the cost of doing business, the per lead cost is going to be lower, right? Because you can sell the whole state,
exactly,
as opposed to one area. Yeah,
exactly. So if you do the numbers on that, if you're closing at 3%, your lead acquisition cost, let's just say you bought 100 leads. Let's just say you paid $5 a lead, generating yourself. I'll just be more conservative. Let's just call it $7 a lead. So you paid $700. You wrote 3 applications. There's your 3-to-1 ROI right there. Right. So it sounds low. You're like 3%. Oh my gosh, because I know that face-to-face agents are doing 5 to 7 times that with direct mail leads, but the cost per lead is higher. Obviously, you have the added cost of driving and the time of day to get there as well. So if you factor that all in and you factor in return on time, that's where it clicks for a lot of agents when they're making a transition from face-to-face to telesales.
Yeah. Key thing is with all insurance sales models is ROI. It's like, how much money is in my bank after my leads, right? In other words, if what you're describing is, if you put $100,000 to make 200,000 net, is that good? I'd say it's good. It may not be 5-to-1, but that's a pretty good income. I don't think anybody's going to scoff that.
Absolutely. And if you factor in, that you can do this from anywhere with an internet connection, you're not tied locally anymore. You're not tied to, we have agents all the time. We have agents in different countries on our platform.
Right.
We have one of our agents on top of our leaderboards lives in Colombia. So, I mean, it's just one of those things where you can't really do it from anywhere. It's a lifestyle business if you want to work it out that way.
So describe what like the day looks like from morning to the end of the day for an agent that's selling online, selling over the phone. How does it look compared to face-to-face sales?
Sure. I'm just going to focus on final expense.
That's fine.
It is different for term and UL and that type of business. So you hit your lead queue in the morning, first thing in the morning. And, typically if you're using a CRM, it'll display the next best lead to call. There's a lot of third-party CRMs that do that now. Our CRM does that, but you click a button, you click dial, and it just dials all your leads, and you just wait to talk to somebody. So you get through your call queue in the morning. You do all your if you have any appointments during the day, a lot of people take some time off for lunch in the gym, and then you hit it again after lunch, and you hit it again after, during the prime time calling hours, 4 to 6 o'clock. So basically you just want to keep your call queue cleared. That means you're on top of all of your phone calls. And if you're on top of all your phone calls and you have nobody else to call, you need to buy more leads. Or if you're on top of all your phone calls, you're not making any sales, you got to pick up your sales game. You got to, you got to get a mentor or something if you're not making the sales. So, from beginning of the day to the end of the day, you're clearing out your call queue 3 times. And you really need a system to do that, because if you're just cherry picking leads, you're calling off a spreadsheet, or anything like that, you really don't have a system in place. You'll be calling some leads too many times. You'll be calling a lot of leads not enough times. And, with telesales, it's all about volume. So the thing is with telesales, you can take a lot of volume. We have guys that are taking 50 leads a day. Granted, their conversion rates are lower than the guys that are probably doing half that. But what they make up for in volume, they actually make more per month than those guys that, that have a higher conversion percentage, just because they do just a significant amount of volume. And they're okay with that. It's just a different type of way to run your business. So
yeah, absolutely. Figure out your numbers and scale them to your heart's content. It's kind of how I look at it.
Yep.
So let's talk about some roadblocks for agents. What are the biggest roadblocks, pitfalls for agents getting started selling insurance online?
Yeah. So the number one roadblock where most agents get caught up is basically it's financial runway. And the thing with telesales is, and it's different than face-to-face. I know you could buy, some direct mail and hit those neighborhoods and make a bunch of sales from that one direct mail drop. So with telesales, there's some follow-up. It's not all one call closes. There are one call closes, but they're not all one call closes. And so
even for final expense?
Right. Even for final expense. Okay. Yeah. And you have what I call this law of compounding leads. If you don't have enough leads to call in the beginning, if you're just taking 5 or 10 leads a day, you're going to run out of people to call, sometimes within 5 minutes, 10 minutes, if you don't get a hold of anybody during that call session. So you need those leads to stack up on top of each other. You need those follow-ups to stack up on each other. And so a lot of agents think that, okay, my first 2 to 3 weeks, I barely made any money. I made money, but the profit's not there. And I'm like, you have to wait it out for at least 60 days, because all those compounding leads, those people that are going to call you back, those follow-ups that you have, those cold leads that you called already 8 to 10 times that are still in your call queue. They're going to be called last in your call queue, but you're going to get a hold of them, make a sale. It happens every single day. They'll be ready then. Those people will respond to that text that you sent them, 3 weeks ago. Okay, I'm ready now. I was on vacation or something.
Right.
So, once that all starts hitting, then that's where it gets very profitable. And so the biggest roadblock is that runway. A lot of agents just don't give it enough time, or they don't put enough money into it to buy enough leads to make it worth their time. So, that law of compounding leads is what I'm calling it, where you just need to just get those leads stacked up on each other so you have that pipeline.
That's always the rub, I think, for us recruiters. It's like, look, you got to go all in on this thing. You can't be half pregnant here. Every business model has its requirements, and leads are the major factor to selling final expense face-to-face or over the phone. And, if you don't go all in, you're going to have more of these problems. You really just have to burn the bridges. I agree. Okay, so let's talk about describing the difference in organic lead generation and paid lead generation. So a lot of people might be listening thinking, okay, what are we talking about? Organic, paid lead, can figure out what that is. You pay for the lead, of course. But why would one agent prefer one over the other? And in your opinion, is there a preferred strategy in generating leads of one of these kinds of leads, in the short term and the long term?
Yeah, so short term, you want to do paid leads. Long term, organic leads, if you can do that. So the organic leads are search engine generated leads. That takes time. It takes content. It takes backlinks. It takes a good fast website, and all those things together will get you to rank in the search engines if you're doing all the right things. So, but it takes anywhere from at least 6 months to get any momentum. And that's working on your website every single day for an hour or two, writing content, generating backlinks. This might sound foreign to a lot of people watching this right now, but those are the types of things you're doing. Basically putting, your line out in the water and, just waiting for the search engines to recognize your website before they start ranking it at the top for certain searches. So that's organic leads. Those are the best leads you can find, because these are seniors that are actually searching for final expense life insurance online. Like they're doing the research, they're in the buying process right now. And they, those are very high intent leads. So you mentioned Anthony Martin, he has all organic search engine leads, and that's why he does so well. But he put in, a good year and a half, 2 years before he started seeing the volume. He had the leads before that, but the volume that, that got him to where he is today, it took him, and he worked at more than 1 to 2 hours a day, So, it's one of those things where it's more of an effort piece where, long-term it pays its dividends. Short-term, most agents can't make it happen because they need to be making money today. So, that's why I say, paid leads, pay-per-click leads. So you can do Facebook, you can do Google AdWords, you can do YouTube ads, you can do anything like that to send them to your website and generate a lead. So that's what we're talking there. And that's completely scalable. And so that's how we scaled our agency, is through pay-per-click, just paying for it. And, and again, there's courses you can take to learn that, or you can just go buy a lead from a lead vendor. So there's different ways to go about doing that, but those are the two different types. I wouldn't, the organic lead is better than the pay-per-click lead. Although we've been testing YouTube ads, and granted they're a little bit more expensive. They're way more expensive than Facebook, but the quality is almost the same as organic. So if you can figure out YouTube ads, that's a good.
I can speak from personal experience, not on the life sales side, but kind of sort of on the life sales side, but definitely the recruiting side. Like the thing about YouTube is that it gives you such a branding effect, and if people see you on screen and you a little education or something, even in an ad, there's a value added to that 100%.
Yeah.
So
and really it all comes down to acquisition cost, right? And so, everybody says, okay, YouTube ad, for a final expense lead might cost you $25, right? But if you're writing, 1 in 5, 1 in 6, even 1 in 8, 1 in 10, even. I mean, it's profitable depending on how you do with the Facebook ads, which everybody seems to be able to do. It's really not that hard to do. It's just a matter of scaling on that. But anyway, it all comes down to acquisition cost. Obviously with organic leads, it's sweat equity. There's no money involved. It's all profit, right? Everybody wants those organic leads, but you need to be a master in search engine optimization and commit yourself to that. Otherwise, go the paid lead route. What most agents do, I would say 85% of agents, they just purchase leads from their upline and work a system. So.
Right. So we talked a lot about final expense over the phone. Is there, I've had agents come to me say, I want to sell IULs, or I want to sell annuities is another thing. Is there any product that does not do well over the phone in your experiences, or have very little history of success?
I get proven wrong all the time, and I love it. I used to think you could not sell cash value, big cash value life insurance policies over the phone. There's guys doing it all day, every day, through their funnels that they've built out through organic search engine. There's cases that come through us. They're $50,000 plus premium cases all the time, and all over the phone. Like people are buying, very high premium cases over the phone. Then you talk about annuities. I'm thinking like, no, nobody's going to put, $500,000, rollover, or whatever.
Sight unseen,
through an annuity. But there's agents doing that. In fact, at our mastermind that we're going to have in Vegas, there's a presentation on it. This guy does $7 million a year and teaches agents to do $7 million a year selling annuities over the phone. They're going to talk about the marketing aspect. And, and the fact that they can scale that. Yeah, you can sell annuities over the phone if you have the right training, if you have the right mentor, for sure. And so, I thought that was, you would not be able to do that. And people keep proving me wrong. Cash value whole life insurance proved me wrong a few years ago. Annuities proved me wrong this year, but I love seeing it. So
perfect. Cool. So stick around for more information on the Mastermind course, of course, as well. That is definitely going to be worth going to. So continuing on with my questions here, is it possible to one call close someone into an insurance product over the phone? Is closing any different over the phone as it is face-to-face?
I mean, it's completely different over the phone than it is face-to-face, but yes, you can one call close, and you should focus on a one call close. Getting somebody back on the phone is the most difficult thing to do.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can you can quote them, you can do your presentation. You have got to get a commitment on that first phone call. And there's ways to do that. I mean, I think where a lot of agents fall short is they just don't have the right training. They don't have the right mindset going in there where they need to control the call. They try and be everybody's best friend instead of being, the advisor and guiding them through the phone call. You know, one of the biggest things we see in our agency that I just talked about this last week or two to a lot of agents that are just onboarding with their agency is they blow it in the first 45 seconds. Like there's a rhyme and there's a method to doing this, and everybody thinks that they can just wing it. and those that are winging it aren't doing well. The guys that are putting up the $30,000 plus a month premiums every month selling final expense over the phone, they say the same thing every single phone call. Yeah, they'll engage and get to know people a little bit, but that's after the first few minutes of the call, after they said, their value proposition, after they kind of went through what they do for them and got the reason for the coverage and all that, then they can connect. But too many agents try to connect in the beginning, and that's just a big mistake. I know you're asking about one call close right now, but I'm just telling you, like, the biggest
that
mistake
contributes.
Yeah. I'm just telling you the biggest mistake I'm seeing agents, why they're not one call closing, is they're being too nice. You need to control the call and deflect any objections. Don't address them, deflect them.
Right. Yeah. That's funny. I just did a video on that. I thought this was free. I'm sure you guys have training on that too.
Yeah.
Everybody runs into that. Okay. Obviously, another question a lot of agents ask is, I'm new. Should I sell face-to-face first or just go right over the phone? Is it better? Is there a particular path to get to selling over the phone? What's your experience?
I don't have a suggestion there. I would actually say if somebody is 50-50 on the fence, I'd tell them to sell face-to-face first.
Okay.
Get the experience first because, get those conversations down. You're just going to write more business in the very beginning off of direct mail leads or, seeing people knocking on doors than you are on telesales in the very beginning. Because I mentioned the law of compounding leads that agents need to understand before they really see success with telesales. So if you're cash strapped, which most agents are, I'd say start face to face and see if you even like this clientele first.
Sure.
But if you can float yourself for a couple months with the lead spend, then yeah, go straight telesales. But yeah, I would build up a war chest with face-to-face sales first. And honestly, the agents that are doing well with us, I could say they are agents who have transitioned. I wouldn't say nobody, but the vast majority of them have transitioned from a face-to-face sale to telesales. And that's why I'm saying that.
Right. Cool. Okay. So let's talk about that conference we mentioned. So you've got a fantastic conference coming up, I think in April. Is that right?
Yeah. April 30th and May 1st.
Okay. And just so you know, I did, for my audience at least, you know this, Jeff, I was a featured panelist last year on a sales panel with a great phone sales guy. And I think your main phone sales trainer, which was great. And this year I'm going to participate with Anthony Martin. He's going to grill my website. I hope so.
He'll grill you.
Yeah, I know. He won't hold back. He'll tell you exactly what it feels. So I'm glad to be doing this. So could you tell us more about how this conference is, what's going to be talked about, and who this is appropriate for to attend?
Sure. So it's called the Digital Life Insurance Agent Mastermind. It's at DLIAmastermind.com, Digital Life Insurance Agent Mastermind. So it's an event for life insurance agents selling over the phone and if you're marketing online. So we're going to have speakers that are in the trenches that sell over the phone, basically giving them their best specific knowledge that they've gained. Everybody has this something that makes them successful, and they're going to share that with you. So we did this 2 years ago in Austin, and we had 25 people. It was just kind of a test. People wanted to get together, and so I put together something here in my hometown in Austin, sold out like immediately, and it was awesome. Like just the relationships formed, everything from it was just incredible. So we did it again. This time, everybody wanted to go to Vegas, so I did it in Vegas. We did Vegas earlier this year. I think it was April or May. I forget, but
May. Yeah, Mother's Day, remember?
Oh, yeah.
Wife
Yeah.
wasn't happy about that, Jeff. Come on.
No, nobody's wives were happy about
Yeah,
that.
right.
That was a terrible mistake on my part. And that's why I'm not allowed to plan these events anymore. My
Right.
wife really panicked. So this year we had about 120 agents show up this year to sold out in Vegas. And I mean, it blew me away just how much the speakers were sharing. I mean, they didn't dodge any question because Q&A is part of it. This is a mastermind. This isn't just, a conference where you're going to hear people speak. You get to ask questions.
Right. Right.
It's interactive. And so, I mean, everybody's sharing their best stuff. And as long as people are willing to come, to get together and share and openly talk about the struggles, the successes and everything, then we're going to keep having this event. And this year is going to be an amazing lineup as well. We got some really, really awesome speakers lined up.
So what topics are we talking about this year? I know you haven't quite released it yet, but can you kind of hint at what you talked about the annuities? That's going to be really exciting.
Yeah, it's releasing today. Okay, so I'll go through some of the topics. So we got Peter Shankman. Peter Shankman founded Help a Reporter Out. So
really? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's going to talk the first day about basically implementing real world ideas from media. So anything from social media, PR, anything like that. He's our only non-insurance speaker, but he's something that a lot of agents use, Help a Reporter Out, to get backlinks to their site, to get featured in media. And he's one of the best in the world at this. And he'll be talking. So you mentioned the annuity guide. So the talk from Javon Doyle and Terry Hayes, they're going to, two guys, one guy does the marketing, one guy does the agent training for annuity telesales. Their talk's called Annuity Attraction Marketing and Virtual Sales Secrets. Attract and close large annuity cases 100% over the phone. Then we have Danny Ray. Danny, you were on the panel with him last year.
Yep.
Or I should say this year. And his talk's about bringing your telesales game to the next level. So he's going to talk about, his Jordan Belfort, Wolf of Wall Street style of straight line selling. And how he does that.
His training is rock solid, Jeff. I don't know if you saw the interview I did with him. Guys, go look it up at Danny Ray, David Duford YouTube.
That's right.
He's inspiring. He'll be great to listen to.
And the guy's crushing it. And he'll be there again. And the other guy you're on a panel with, Todd Human's coming back as well. He's going to talk about building a remote empire, strategies for writing 700 plus new policies every year. Todd's worked with some of the best, the biggest names out there. SelectQuote built their training program, telesales training program, and consulting on direct marketing. And those agents there, they write 700 plus new policies every single year. That's the standard. So he's going to talk about, kind of those strategies for an independent agent to be able to do that. We have Ramiz Hakim, who built North Star Insurance Advisors, right? He does over 25,000 new final expense life insurance policies issued using one company, all over the phone. So he's going to talk about responsibility rationing, how to scale your agency from one man to over 400. Talk about cash value. We have Tom Love from the Breakaway League. So he's going to talk about truly understanding how wealth works and then how cash value life insurance can be a part of that. And so his strategy is unique. It's not anything like infinite banking or bank on yourself, or doesn't involve IULs or anything like that. So it's really an incredible message. I've heard it. I've seen it, and it's special. So obviously Anthony Martin, who, you guys are going to do something together. You have Jason Eichmiller from last year and Ryan Smith. So Jason talked about chatbots in Facebook. So basically his talk is how to build a bot that builds instant rapport with your prospects. He's going to be talking with Ryan Smith, who was at the event last year, who mentored him. And Ryan is, he went from, writing $4,000 or $5,000 a month. The guy's consistently in the $20,000 plus, $25,000 plus off of chatbots every single month, just following Jason's training. So they're going to talk together about what's working and see it in action, really. So we got a couple guys, Rich Florence and David Toms. They're agents of ours in digital BGA. They each write over $35,000 a month in final expense premium off of our leads. So they're going to talk about scaling your agency through partnerships. Then you got Jason Fisher, going to talk about SEO and Google. Chris Huntley, going to talk about 7 steps to building a 7-figure life insurance website. And then my partner, Nick West, is going to talk about building business leverage. So basically knowing your numbers, teaching agents, how to work a P&L and how to make decisions off of that. but also growth by business loans and mergers and acquisitions. There's a lot of mergers and acquisitions going on. He's going to talk about that.
Yeah, tons.
Anyway, there's so much there. And the big thing here is we're getting everybody on a harbor cruise the first night. It's including the ticket price. So 3 hours, dinner, everything included there. And so we're going to have about 200 agents on that Sunset Harbor cruise in San Diego. And it should be some great connecting.
Yeah, I went last year. It was the best thing I ever did. You run the best conference, Jeff. I've been to several. I think yours, hands down, is rock solid. And anybody who skips out on this that doesn't have to is seriously missing out. Just like you said, not just on the training, which is going to be incredible, but on the networking. I mean, I've met a couple of agents that I'm doing business with now. I met some people like Chris Westfall at the conference, and it was nice to catch up with him.
Amazing dude. I love Chris. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot of heavy hitters at this thing. And if you want to kind of talk to them face to face, there's plenty of opportunities to do so. And it's going to be great. So, and it's in San Diego. How could you complain about that? So tell us one more time, Jeff, as we wrap this up, where can my audience go to buy a ticket and reserve a spot? Because it is going to go fast. I can promise you that.
Yep. So it's DLIA. That stands for Digital Life Insurance Agent Mastermind.com. So DLIA Mastermind.com.
Great. And the link will be below in this video. Please follow it. Go ahead and purchase a ticket. Tell Jeff I sent you. And Jeff, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. I'll see you in a few months, I guess.
Yes, here in a few months. Y'all take care. See you.
All right. Cheers.